first and foremost, call I am La, Alahain Nawa, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Hawa, Kakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well, and a hearty shalom to the elect. All right, your brother Karad is back on another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, and doing some reading in Galatians, the 3rd chapter. All right, and the Lord is allowed me to do a lesson on it. Right, what I read. All right. Let me just get the word I want to look up as I start reading. I want to read it to you, to the listeners in the Greek, and get the definition. All right. So this is Galatians, the 3rd chapter, and the 14th verse. All right. It says here that the blessing of Abraham, all right, might come on the Gentiles through Yahweh Shai Mashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. All right, it's a lot to, try to talk about right here, but I want to talk. It's simple, very simple. When people see this word Gentile, okay, they think it's the other nations, and that's wrong. Okay, all right. The apostles and elders at Great Millstone have taught us to look up words. All right, look up words. Okay, so when we look up words, when we read in the Bible, we look it up in its language that it was written in. So we go into the blue letter, and when we look up this word Gentile, okay, give me a second. My phone be acting weird sometimes. We're going to look at this word Gentile or Gentiles.
Strong's G 1484, ethnos. Ethnos.
All right, the word is ethnos, okay? All right. And when you look at definition B, it says a multitude of individuals of the same nature or genus, okay? All right, a tribe, nation, people group, okay? All right. This is not individuals that are of Edomite descent, and compared to me, okay? When it's talking about Gentiles, okay? All right, it's not talking about that. All right, when it's talking about our people being Gentiles, it's talking about how we went off and worshiped other gods, did things contrary to the Lord. All right, even in the Old Testament, okay. All right. All right, when the kings of Israel set up idols in the Lord's temple, all right, we went in there and made sacrifices to them, sacrificed our children to them, all right. Those things caused us to be Gentiles, all right, because we were doing offering sacrifices to the gods of the people that was round about us, okay. And our people are still in that same mindset, but the word Gentile, all right, in this precept, as we read the word in the Greek, okay, which is ethnos, and it's 1484, and it goes into a multitude of individuals of the same nature and genus, okay, and it's talking about you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native American Indians, okay, all right. You are all the individuals who were promised the seed, promised the promises of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all right. And we're gonna get into that, all right. So this is continuing on in Galatians 3:14. It says that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahweh Shai Mashiach, that we might have the promise of the Spirit through faith, all right? Because you understand that Paul was an apostle to the Gentiles, so he's including himself when he's saying we, because he's preaching to them, all right? We know Paul is from the tribe of Benjamin, okay? All right. And on top of that, he was doing wrong against the people that believed in the Lord until the Lord did his conversion on him, converted him, okay? All right, opened up his mind, opened up his eyes, put the Spirit on him, okay? All right. then he became an apostle to the Gentiles. That's why he's saying we in that sentence, okay? All right. Um, the promise of the Spirit through faith, all right? The promise of the Spirit, it came, you can go read John the 14th chapter, okay? Where the Lord said he's gonna give us the Spirit, man. All right, and that Spirit goes into understanding who we are because we got casted away because of idol worship, because of doing things contrary to the Lord. Okay, as our people constantly do now when there's prophets on the highways and byways. All right, telling them to turn back to the Lord. All right. Give me 1 second. I forgot where I'm gonna go. Oh yeah, John the 14th chapter. All right. This is John chapter 14. And the promise of the Spirit gave us understanding of who we were, okay, and who we are today, and how we got to where we are today. Basically, all right, the Lord opened up our understanding through His sacrifice, all right, and gave us the understanding of the Bible to help us understand who we are. All right, this is John 14 and 15. It says, "If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray Yahweh, I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another comforter, that he may abide with you, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive." The world can't receive that, the Gentiles, okay, in that precept, all right, and through many other precepts when you read in the Bible, all right, it's talking about the Israelites, okay, all right, it's talking about those individuals that converted from or grew up in the mindset of those individuals that they lived around about because that's what their parents did, just as we did, because we grew up in America, because our parents grew up in America, because their parents grew up in America, and we clung to those American traditions. But now, through the mercies of the Lord, through the Spirit of truth, whom the world can't understand, all right, as the scriptures say, we keep the Passover, all right? We keep the Sabbath to the best of our abilities, all right? We do what we can as pleasing to the Lord to the best of our abilities, okay? All right? But the world will fight against that, and that's okay. That's what's supposed to happen. The Lord is a man of war, so, and like it says in Sirach, when you come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Having adversity is part of temptation. People coming against you is a part of temptation, all right? But the Lord is a man of war, as the scriptures say. So you got to be ready to fight, right? But anyway, verse 17, it says, "Even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot understand, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him." And to know the Lord, all right, is to know the name. So you calling on Jesus Christ, you calling on somebody else, man. You calling on an idol, all right. That's what will keep you in that Gentile mindset. That's what had our people in that Gentile mindset. Um, if you read, I'm gonna get it. If you read in the Apocrypha, okay, because it's very clear, simple point to point out, okay, how our people went forth to the government of the Grecians, all right, to go and do wickedness, okay, all right. Let me get it right quick. And that's the same thing our people was doing when we were put in subject to these other nations round about us, because we went off and did wicked things and served those nations other gods behind the Lord's back. All right, when our kings set up idols in the Lord's temple, things of that nature. All right, when our prophets was persecuted for telling and speaking the truth. All right, this is First Maccabees 1 and and a yeah, and 11. It says, "In those days went out there of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen, that are round about us, for since we departed from them we had much sorrow." All right. Stuck on wickedness, clung to wickedness, want to stay on wickedness. All right. So you go make promises and sign contracts. All right. You see what our people do in Hollywood. All right. You see what Hollywood pushes on our people, the music industry, all sorts of wickedness for money. All right. People selling their souls, get caught up in those sex parties, you know, with Diddy and Earl Epstein or whoever the hell that guy is, Joe Epstein, whatever, right? All right. It says here, then certain other people were so forward therein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do it after the ordinances of the heathen. Things like this made us Gentiles. That's my whole point of reading this. Okay, Israelites going off doing things that are contrary to the Lord, worshiping idols, doing things that celebrate your birthday, anything that's contrary to the Lord, being a homosexual, things of that nature, man. All right, anything that's contrary to the Lord, man. All right, it's heathenistic practices and customs. Okay, it says here, because the customs of the Lord is what we're supposed to be doing and living by. All right, to the best of our abilities. All right, it says 14. It says, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, meaning that they took some penis flesh from somebody or something and put it back on their rod. All right. It says, and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. That's what happened to our people. That's what happened. That's what happened. They did that. And that's what they're doing here today. But that's why the Lord gave this truth to men that's going to go preach to wake up the elect. Okay. All right. That's going to preach the truth. All right. Starting off with the names of the Lord. All right. Because that's what gets you. That's that bait. Or hearing, no, that's part of the bait. No, that's the hook, line, and sinker. Let me say that. Okay. All right. So verse 14 is talking about how John 14 is talking about how the Spirit was going to come upon us, and that came upon us by Yahweh's sacrifice. Now let's go back to Galatians, the 3rd chapter. All right. And I was on the 14th verse. It says that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. All right. And we believe, and we heard this truth, which made us believe. All right. That's why the Lord said, I will make you fishers of men. All right. How would men be fished? All right. By word. Men are influenced by words. People are influenced by words. All right. That's why faith came by hearing. Okay. All right. And to Wadi, how about Shema Shah for allowing me to do this lesson? All right. And those Israelites that heard the preachings of Paul, all right, and heard about Yahushua, all right, they turned to the Lord and believed by faith. That's what got them grafted back in, okay, because those ones that were grafted back in are Israelites, because when you read in, it is in, it's in Romans, man, give me 1 second. But when you read here in the Bible, it's either in, let me get it. When it says again, it's talking about those Israelites that were out there wilding out, worshiping idols. Okay. All right. All right, I got it right here. This is Romans 11. It says, I'm gonna just jump around because I'm just get straight to the point. All right, this is Romans 11 and 23. It says, and they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, meaning, hey, I heard the truth, I didn't believe it. I'm gonna continue to be an American, or I'm gonna continue to be a Roman or a Greek, all right, or a Babylonian, okay, all right, or a Persian or a Mede, okay, because those are all the nations that we were in captivity, those major empires we are in captivity under, okay. Don't forget about the Assyrian captivity, okay. Now we here in the American captivity, all right. People would rather say I'll be that than what the Lord sanctioned and made them to be, okay. If they ignore the truth, how they going to abide with the Lord? The Lord said, I believe it's in John as well, abide with me and I'll abide in me, and I'll abide in you. All right, because he's the vine. All right, because he's the one that connects all this. All right, he's the one that connects all this. Okay, in so many different ways. All right, it says here, if they shall not, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for Yahweh is able to graft them in again, meaning that they were already there to be put back in. All right, they were already there to be put back in. They fell off. They came back. The Lord, they came back through faith because the way of their life was contrary to the Lord, because all they seen was mom separated from the house. I mean, dad separated from the house, mom on drugs, different men coming in and out of the house throughout time. Uh, whatever, you know, some people living in poor conditions in that sense, or in the home front. Mom working overnight, kids at the house by themselves, listening to God knows what on the tablets, outside skipping school, doing bad in school, broken home. Then the kids listening to things that's on television that's warping their mind. When you're so engraved in that, then when you hear something that's telling you that you're something great, you'll have that spirit of unbelief. But the Lord changed those men's mind that were meant to be changed. Got us out of that American mindset. Got us out of that Gentile mindset and coming back to who we are, to preach to the elect, because that's who it's all for anyway. Okay? But to be grafted back in is to be grafted back in again, because that's what it means when they say grafted in. They don't say in again, because you got to be, it says in again in the Bible. All right? They leave it out. All right? Um, you had to be there, but you can't be grafted back in if you wasn't there. So those Israelites that took those customs of the heathen that we just read about in Romans, I mean in the Maccabees, first Maccabees, okay, that put their foreskin back on them, made covenants with the heathen, and went to go do mischief. Those individuals forsook those ways and had faith in the Lord based on what they heard. Faith comes by hearing. Okay. All right. Let me go back to Galatians 3:15. It says here, brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth or added thereto. Right? So let's say just in general, these nations, just that nuclear deal I'm hearing about between Russia and Iran and America and Iran, generally those deals don't get broken until the time of that contract is over. Okay? Because there sometimes could be drastic measures. All right, sometimes I say. All right. Um, it says here, now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not to, he saith, and it says he saith not, and to his seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Hamashiach. So Yahweh Shai is the connective factor to all of this. All right. He is the connecting factor to the faith. He is the connecting factor to the Heavenly Father. He's the connecting factor to everything, to eternal life. You gotta believe in Him, okay? You gotta believe in Him, all right? And through Yahweh Shai, we have peace with the Heavenly Father, okay? All right. I'm gonna keep reading the 18. It says here, oh no, you know what? Let me get some. Let me get some of these promises that the Lord gave to Abraham. All right, because that's important to know and understand. Because it's important to know and understand history to see how our forefather came up out of the Gentile mindset and how we were called by the Lord to come up out of the Gentile mindset. Okay, except for we didn't leave the land. We just tried our best and are still trying our best to turn to the Lord. Abraham was left the land that he was in and saw the land. Okay, all right, that his people were going to go inherit. Forgive me if I'm speaking wrong on that. I think he saw the land, right? But this is what the Lord said to Abraham. This is Genesis 12 and 1. It says, now Yahweh has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and out of thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. All right. Everybody knows who Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is. More specifically, in this instance, because we're reading about Abraham. Everybody knows about Abraham, right? It says here, verse 3, and I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. All right. And it's through Yahweh Shai, man. Okay. All right. That's one of the Lord's callings to Abraham. We were called in that same manner, but we were called to preach. All right. We weren't called to get up and leave America. So flee doctrine that some Israelite groups push. Y'all got to stop doing that, man. We were called to repent and turn back to the Lord, not flee America. All right, because the Lord could judge you anywhere you go. Judgment happens at any point in time, man. All right, any point in time. Let me get some more in Genesis. Let me get another promise. This is Genesis. I was reading 12. This is Genesis 12, 13 and 14. It says here, and Yahweh said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated, and Abram said, Yahweh, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one is born in my house, and one in my house is mine, and one born in my house is mine heir. Salakia. And behold, the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And verse 5, he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in Yahweh, and he, which is Yahweh, counted it to him for righteousness. All right. So because Abraham believed, it was counted to him for righteousness. All right. This is part of the promises, man. All right. Those stars, that's a lot of stars, man. That means the people of Israel, it's gonna be a large amount of us, man. All right. Looking like different nations. All right. Looking like different nations. Okay. All right. Looking like different nations. All right. Anyway, it says here, going back to Galatians 3:16, it says, Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Hamashiach. So everything is connected through Yahweh Shai. All right. Everything, the understanding, the mediating part, where he came and died. Isaiah 53 tells you that. The gospel tell you about it. Okay. All right. What he's going to do, how he's going to deliver the elect, us, we. Okay. All these things are connected through Yahweh Shai, man. All right. Verse 17, it says, And this day that the covenant that was confirmed before of Yahweh in Hamashiach, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make the promise of none effect. All right. So the promises that was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was some 430 some odd years before the law was given to the Israelites through Moses. Okay. All right. So the promises that was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all right, they outweigh the law. Okay. All right. So when we receive that the spirit of those promises, man, those that means those promises that's going to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they also going to Jacob's seed. Okay? It says nothing about any other nation receiving any promise from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, Jacob didn't bless the nations like he blessed his children. Okay? All right, or Israel didn't bless the nations like he blessed his children. All right. The promises was from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right. But verse 18 it says, "For if the inheritance be of the law, if there be, it is no more of the promise, but Yahweh gave it to Abraham by the promise." So the inheritance is by the promise. So keeping the law is not going to get you in the inheritance. Okay. We can't keep all 613 laws anyway. All right. And if we could, the Lord would have made it so. But we not. The Lord didn't make it so. The Lord's gonna make it so we can get into the kingdom when we get that second covenant. Okay. When He puts the law, statutes, commandments on our inward parts. But this place gotta go though, in order for that to happen. All right. Two rulers can't be in one seat. All right. And the Lord Yahweh is gonna get that ruling seat. Okay. All right. And that's gonna come by means of war, death, destruction, famine, waste, pestilence. All right, things you see that's going on over there in the Middle East right now. Okay, all right, these earthquakes, protests of the people, all these things are what's supposed to happen for the promise of the inheritance to fall on the Israelites like it was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, it's not to anybody else. So when it says Gentiles right here, all right, it's talking about the individuals of the same tribe, nation, okay, genius, nature, okay, that falls onto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the Israelites are scattered throughout the four corners of the globe because of the curses, because we went off and did things that Gentiles did and still do today. Idol worship. When I say Gentiles, I mean those that are of this so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American descent, whose seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose seed line is tied to the centerpiece of all this, or to the cornerstone of all this, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay, all right. Yeah, but the law is not what's gonna get you the inheritance, that promise of the Lord. Then faith in what it is that all I just taught, because I'm just reading from the Bible, and that's all the elders and apostles are doing. That faith is what's most important, man, because the Lord Yahweh Shai said it, John 6:28 and 29. Lord, will you edify to the next time. Shalom.